How's it going, guys? Andrew here with Justified EDC, and I have yet another new knives and gear video for you guys. I know you guys might be thinking it too, because I know I'm thinking it myself. Andrew, why so many videos recently that are just new knives and gear? Where are the reviews? Well, one, I'm getting a bunch of stuff in all at the same time, so, you know, when I get a bunch of stuff in, I can only carry so much gear at one time and use so much gear at one time, so, you know, it takes a little bit longer to do reviews this way. I usually like to spread stuff out, but just sometimes companies and makers all happen to send stuff all at the same time, so that's okay. The one review that I know you guys are waiting for, and I've been wanting to do myself, is the Defense Lab E-Hood, which is this guy right here, this awesome budget self-defense Pakal style blade. Really, really cool knife. Been carrying it and stuff for a while now, and I'm definitely ready to do the review. But I have somehow misplaced the trainer that comes with it. I know I had taken it with me somewhere, so it might be in my car, which is currently in the shop right now. But I've torn my space apart here looking for it. But I don't want to do the review without the trainer because, you know, it's kind of part of the whole package. So this review is coming. I have a message out to the Defense Lab that if I can't find this one, hopefully they can you know, send me over another trainer just so I can get the review out. But other than that, you know, we're going to get right into all this stuff here. Just a couple housekeeping things here before we get started. Let me just move this stuff off to the side real quick. Black Friday is coming up, and a little bit of shameless self-promotion. My company, G3D Printables, it has a Black Friday sale going on right now as of the time of filming this, from Wednesday, November 27th through Monday, December 1st, or November 27th to Monday, December 1st. If you use code G3D Black 5, you will get $5 off any order of $25 or more. That should cover a lot of the, you know, single items. You know, we try to keep everything very affordable. I don't think we have a single item over $50. Most things are under $30. So, you know, grab a couple things, get yourself a little bit of money off. As always, shipping is free, so you're already not paying shipping costs. But, you know, just a couple things that you could get here. Cavi claws, you know, our single finger knuckles here out of ABS. Got a little Chemlite storage down there, lanyard hole, great single finger knuckle option. If you want full knuckles, we have our jack-o'-lantern here, nice and thin, carries in the pocket, super lightweight. We have both full-size and mini Bic banks, which are just Bic lighter holders with some extra storage and some room for things like Victorinox tools. So if you're interested in those, we have these in a bunch of different colors available on the website, including we still have some of these glow-in-the-dark ones left here. See if I can get this to glow on camera. It doesn't do it very well when it has all this light on it, but these are glow blue. We have some of the jack-o'-lanterns in green glow still, and we have Occam's razors. I think the purple are sold out now, but we do have some in, I think, brown, red, green, and I think we're bringing black back. I'm not sure if the black is in stock, but we have all this kind of stuff in stock on the website right now. So code G3D Black 5 will get you $5 off your order. Go check that stuff out. Shameless self-promotion over. Now I will do some shameless promotion of my sponsor, Auxiliary Manufacturing. Mike over at Auxiliary Manufacturing is making awesome custom USA-made fixed blades like this pocket bowie. He has a big old drop coming up on December 6th. He has a bunch of these coffin handle series with a bunch of different blade shapes. He's got like a Tonto with a hybrid hollow flat grind, a Warncliffe. There's a couple other ones. He's dropping the XL pocket bowie, which is just a sized up, beefed up version of this guy here. Another one of my favorites, the Sumi, this tiny little hawkbill Pakal style. But he has a big drop coming up again, December 6th. I do have a discount code with him. Code Justified10 will get you 10% off your order on his website. So if you're interested in his stuff, definitely look out for that drop and use the code. Down in the description, I will leave links to all of his stuff. And thank you to Mike, as always, for sponsoring the channel. Again, one other thing I wanted to address before we get into here. I know I always say I leave timestamps on these videos. I try to, timestamp every individual part. So if there's something you're not interested in or you want to skip my intros and rambling and all that, you can skip ahead to whatever parts you want to watch. Recently, and I've been on some forums and stuff too, it seems like I'm not the only one having this problem, but YouTube has not always been adding timestamps, even though I add them in the description. They don't actually show up on the bar, if you scroll and see the segments on the bar down here on the bottom of your screen. But I do still have the timestamps in the description of the video that you can physically click on to skip ahead. So if for whatever reason timestamps aren't showing up segmented on your bar here, go in the description and you can still use the ones. I will still leave them in the description. So all that being said, let's get into some stuff here. One thing, again, I've started doing recently, some book recommendations. So last time I think I had recommended Gavin Ortland's book on a theological triage. This time I have two different ones here, one that I've read already and one that I just picked up. So the one that I just picked up is Grace Abounding to the Chief of Sinners, which is the autobiography of John Bunyan. Really cool. Really cool guy. If you know anything about John Bunyan, he's probably most well known for Pilgrim's Progress. But just a great theologian, and this is his autobiography. I've read excerpts of this before, but this is my first time reading the whole thing. But just a lot of great just real world application, and a good reminder that these guys are human and had all of their as many wise things as they've said, and as smart as they were, and as godly of men as they were still human and still struggled with a lot of different things. John Bunyan is a great example of that. So again, I can't recommend everything that's in here because again I haven't read it all yet, but I have read excerpts. I have read John Bunyan before, so very excited to read this. One that I can definitely recommend is this here. This is the Apostolic Fathers in English by Michael W. Holmes. My church used this in a class that we did on the Church Fathers, and then I picked it up and read it myself. So if you're interested in any of the early Church Fathers like Clement, Ignatius, Polycarp, any of those guys, this is a great way to read some of their letters and writings and stuff like that. It's all been translated in a way that's very legible. I think a lot of times in Protestantism, which again, I'm a Protestant, we don't often put enough emphasis on the teachings of the early church fathers. Obviously as a Protestant, we believe in sola scriptura, that, the authority of the Bible over the authority of the church. However, we shouldn't forsake the teachings of the early church fathers simply because they're too Catholic or anything like that. No shade to my Catholic brothers out there, but oftentimes that's the attitude that we as Protestants have. But there's a lot of wisdom to be found in what the Apostolic Fathers and the Church Fathers said, those that were very close to the apostles, and closer to the time of Jesus. Just a lot of wisdom in their writing. So if you're interested in this, definitely go pick this up. I'll leave links to both of these in the description. I believe you can get both of these on Amazon. All right, so now into the actual gear, and you're not getting away from the Bible stuff yet because this is the first thing I got. If you don't like if this is going to annoy you, sorry, but this is my channel and I do what I want. This is just a mini pocket edition of the ESV New Testament, as well as the Psalms and Proverbs. I had picked up a pocket Psalms, which are set in meter so that can be sung. I think I showed that in another video. And while I do like having that, it's obviously not always the best thing to be singing out in public. So I wanted something that, I could just open and read. This does include the Psalms, and these are just, the normal translation where they're not set in meter. So they're easier to just read if you're actually reading through the Psalms. But these are also great. They're, I got this on Amazon. It's like a faux leather cover, but it's really, really nice. All the pages are really nice. The cover is really nice. And these are like $6 or $7. So these are also great to have on you. I can fit them in like the breast pocket of my jackets and my shirts and stuff like that. So not only is it a great thing to have with you to just be able to read through, and stuff like that while you're out and about. But also, these are cheap. You can keep some of these in your car or whatever. And if you want to give someone a Bible or something like this is a great way to do it. And not, so you're not buying, $50, $100, really nice Bibles and, putting yourself out for this kind of stuff. But the quality is still there. It's all red worded for Jesus's words, which is nice. So this is a great thing to be giving someone if they're just getting into reading the Bible. It's just the New Testament, the Psalms, and the Proverbs. So I will leave a link to that as well. It's something that I've started carrying every day. The Psalms I still keep in my car for when I want it, but this kind of stays in my pocket, and it's a nice thing to have. So that is that. Let's get into some actual gear now. Now that I've probably pissed off everyone who is not interested in these topics at all. The first thing here, this is from a company called Beavercraft, and they are out of Ukraine. They actually hit me up in my email and asked if they could send me a knife, or I think they make some axes and hatchets as well, but that's not really the focus of my channel. There's plenty more knowledgeable people on that kind of stuff out there. But I took a look through their website, and this is the knife that I decided to pick for them to send me. This is the Breeze. It's obviously a bushcraft model. Comes with a leather sheath here, but it is in 1066 carbon steel. I honestly don't remember what wood is on the handle. But these remind me, and they're going to have to forgive me if this is just stereotyping here, but it reminds me a lot of BPS knives, which is another Ukrainian kind of bushcraft knife company. And that's because the construction and everything is very, very similar. It would not even surprise me if these are made in the same factory. I do not know that for sure, but they look a lot like BPS knives. The designs aren't the same, obviously, but materials, they're using 1066, which I really only ever see in Ukrainian knives, and similar style wood handles, similar style leather sheaths. But I believe this is 3/32 thick, which I actually appreciate. When you have a steel as tough as something like 1066, you really don't need a really thick wedge of steel. So 3/32 is actually nice. You have a true Scandi grind. I don't think there's a secondary bevel on here at all. It more looks like they might have just run it on a wheel to take off the burr, but this does look like it is a true Scandi grind. Not really sure why there's a sharpening choil, because if you know about sharpening Scandi grinds, you don't really need a sharpening choil. And I would have liked to be able to, get up right behind that edge there, but now that sharpening choil is kind of in the way. But again, not a huge deal. The handles are very, very comfortable. They are contoured, as you can see here. Well, they're not contoured all the way. They are flat, but they have nice chamfers on either side. You can see, I really do like the shape. It's got enough shape to it that it locks into your hand, but it's neutral enough that you can use it and you can do your chest lever stuff. You can do all of your normal grips and everything like that. So even some of your reverse grips are comfortable. I dig that. Lanyard hull, which is good for you bushcraft guys. Odd thing I actually like about this, but some of you bushcraft guys might not, it does not have a 90-degree spine. It is not a sharp spine. It would be easy enough to, take a grinder or something and sharpen yourself a spot on the spine to strike a fire steel if you want. Personally, I think 90-degree spines are pretty useless, even for bushcraft stuff. Most fire starters come with something that you can strike the steel with, and now it's just uncomfortable to put your thumb on the top of your thing. I know some guys use the back of their knife for scraping, but with the right steel, you can do that with the edge too. So I digress. I like that it's not sharpened, but that is something to be aware of. The sheath here is nicely made and everything like that. I'm just not a huge fan of the design. The edge is just barely covered. There's no actual retention on the sheath itself. It fully relies on this piece of leather wrapping fully around the handle and then this strap here. But, if you're carrying this on your belt, you undo that strap. I know I'm going to end up slicing that retention strap at some point. So what I've been doing with it so far is I have this generic leather sheath, has a dangler or whatever. I don't ever really use the dangler, but I was using it for my Russell Green River Works here, but this actually fits great down in there. So that's probably how I'll be carrying it. I don't know if you'll see a review soon on this necessarily, maybe in the next month or two. But I need to, have an opportunity to go out and actually use this in some more bushcraft applications, because this is not an EDC knife. So, but I wanted you guys to see it. I wanted the company to see that I got it and all that. But, a review will be coming on that eventually. Once I have some time to actually get outside and use it. But that is it. It is, again, from Beavercraft. I will leave links to them if you want to go check them out. Pretty cool company. There's some other designs that are fairly nice looking as well. So that is fixed blades. One other thing I wanted to throw in here, my last video, if you didn't go watch it, definitely actually go watch it. I did an unboxing of some stuff from Infusion. Which is a company that's actually local to me. They make a bunch of different titanium products, including this multi-tool right here with a really cool ratcheting mechanism. But the one thing I really wanted to point out here and give it its own thing on the new knives and gear is this right here. This is, and oh man, I am forgetting. Oh, it's the GhostTi. That's what it is. But it is a little utility knife, all made of one single piece of titanium. Really cool locking mechanism. I'm not going to go over, exactly how it works here because I went over it already in the full video where I did the unboxing and everything. But this is really, really neat, and I've had it in my pocket every day since I got it. I have one of these like topo pattern blades in here from, I don't even remember what company at this point, but I used up the one that this came with. I had a like a hawkbill blade in there for a little bit, but then I threw this in there and I thought it looked cool for pictures and stuff like that. So that's what's in there right now. But this is the GhostTi, really interesting mechanism on here, different from any other kind of these like small utility knives that I've seen before. This is also their titanium bead. But I just wanted to show this off in this again to mostly say go watch that video. Actually I don't need to leave a link to it. It's the video that came out before. I did a whole unboxing on a bunch of different gear from Infusion, but I just wanted to show this off again in case you didn't watch that video. So that is that. Next here, this is something that I picked up from a buddy on Instagram. This is a Farm Field knife from Great Eastern Cutlery. I actually don't know what the actual model number is. It's probably this here. Again, I don't keep up with all of the GEC model numbers and everything like that. But it's from their Farm Field series, which is their more budget series that just has these micarta handles on it. The fit and finish is still, I'd say, on par with most other GEC knives. But the price, if you can get them when they actually are new, is significantly less than a lot of the other GECs. These usually come in under $100. I've seen them anywhere from like 75 to 90 bucks brand new. Now, unfortunately, they don't do a whole lot of these anymore. So people scalp for them online, and you'll be paying the ridiculous GEC secondary market prices for even these budget ones here. But these are really cool knives. They have like a sodbuster version as well. They call the bull nose. They have a bull nose with a cap lifter as well. And then they got this one with like the sheep's foot Warncliffe blade, whatever you want to call it. Kind of a sway back handle pattern here. My buddy that sent me this put this cool leather lanyard here on it, but it's nice. It's got these look like linen micarta. All the fitting is really nice. There's no gapping or anything like that. Everything locks up nicely. There's no blade play side to side. Walk and talk is nice. Nice half stop. And then all GECs are using 1095 high carbon steel, so you can see it's developing a patina from the previous owner's use. I did put a fresh edge on it because one of the dumb things about Great Eastern Cutlery is they don't actually sharpen their knives from the factory. They basically put this like faux edge on it that doesn't actually come to an apex and isn't an actual edge bevel. It blows my mind that they still do this, and I don't understand why they do it. But if you buy a brand new GEC knife, you will have to sharpen it right away. You'll actually have to reprofile the edge and put an actual edge bevel on it. It's sharp, but it will not, cut paper or anything like that from the factory. So I don't know why they do that. It's very annoying, but I put my own edge on it now, and now it is very sharp. Let me see if I have a piece of paper here we can cut. There we go. So very sharp now. I do like carrying a slip joint from time to time, so this is a cool one. I do want to get one of the bullnose ones eventually, but I also like this blade shape, so figured I'd pick it up. I got a good deal on it. I appreciate it. So I don't think I'll do a review or anything, but you're definitely going to see this in my EDC updates and stuff like that. And last but certainly not least, we have the thing that I am most excited about that I've picked up recently, and that is a Chris Reeve Sebenza 31 in Magna Cut. This happens to be one with the micarta. I technically I don't even know if these are overlays technically because they're not really inlaid into the scales. But this is a Sebenza 31. Really, from what I understand, one of the only differences between the 31s and the 21s is that they added the ceramic detent ball and lock interface to the 31, which previously was only on the Sebenza 25, which became the Nkosi. Before, they just had it was just titanium on steel, which you couldn't get lock stick with that, and it will wear over time. Your lock engagement will change over time when your titanium's wearing on your steel. So one of the things they changed is they put that ceramic lock interface there that also acts as the detent, which is very, very nice. I do appreciate that, and also they've upgraded the steel. I believe these originally first came out with S45VN, which is just fine, which is a big step up from S35. I'm not a huge fan of S35 as a steel overall, but Magna Cut is a huge step up, and they're actually running these at the correct HRC of 63 to 64, so you're going to get a good amount of performance out of this. About 1/8 inch blade stock, give or take, crown spine, hollow grind, which I really appreciate, and then obviously titanium frame lock, titanium clip, micarta overlays, single thumb stud, no thumb stud on the other side, but again, this isn't really a flicky knife. I don't mind that, and I'm not lefty, so I don't really care. Perfectly centered. Lockup is perfect. Nothing wrong with it. And I've been using this a bit already. The Stonewash does a good job of hiding wear, but as you can see, I've already sharpened it once. Here I has my own edge on it now. One thing that I didn't know going into this is that Chris Reeve actually, from the factory, they put a slight convex on their edge bevel. So if you don't know, a normal edge bevel, just a normal flat edge bevel, looks like a V. It's just straight on either side. A convex will have a slight apple seed kind of finish to it, where it kind of curves into that apex. So it won't be as bitey sharp, but it will be a little more tough, a little bit more stable. They've been apparently doing that for a while. I didn't know that. The last time I had a Chris Reeve was many years ago, and I wasn't really as into sharpening then, and edge geometry and all that kind of stuff. I was kind of still getting into knives, so I didn't really know that. So when I got this and, I'm cutting paper, I'm like, this is sharp, but it's not really biting all that well. And then I watched someone's video, and they were talking about how Chris Reeve convexes their edge bevel from the factory. So if that's something you like, cool. I don't like that at all. To me, you're already running a properly heat-treated Magna Cut. You don't really need a convexed edge bevel to give you any kind of edge stability. You kind of already got that just from the composition of the steel and the thickness that you have it at. So I put my own edge on it. I did leave it at 20 degrees. I didn't lay it back anymore. Just to give it some toughness still, since it's a hollow grind. But left it at 20 degrees, but now it is a normal flat V edge instead of that convex, and it is much, much sharper now. We'll give it a shot here. I've been using this a bunch, so it might be sticky and gunked up, but yeah, it's still sharp, but it has a bunch of shit all over the blade right now because I was using it for food prep last night, and then I was cutting tape with it today, so the edge is all sticky. But it's been wearing in really, really nicely. And when I first got it, it was that hydraulic Chris Reeve smooth, but it wasn't as smooth as I remembered Sebenzas being. And again, I've had these for a while, so I took it apart, cleaned it, re-greased it, put it back together, and it is much smoother now. And as I've been using it and it's been breaking in, it is even smoother now, to the point that I know this is going to be heresy, but I can flick this open. Every Chris Reeve fanboy is now so pissed at me because I flicked a Chris Reeve Sebenza open. It's my channel and I can do what I want, and I bought the knife, so go find another video to be mad at. So that was interesting. The process of disassembling and putting it back together was interesting. If you don't know, you put a Sebenza back together different than any other frame lock. You know, normally frame lock, you have the two halves, you have your washers, and then you have your blade. And you kind of build it like a sandwich. You have the one side, washer, blade, washer, other side of the scale. This one, you kind of put everything together without the blade or the washers in it, and then you put some grease on the washers, put that on the blade, and then you slip it down in and tighten everything up because it has that bushing inside the pivot. And so that's supposed to keep all the tolerancing correct. So that was an interesting learning curve there, putting that back together. One thing I will say, again, I'm just kind of rambling here at this point, but I like talking about this knife. Don't use the disassembly and reassembly video that Chris Reeve has on their YouTube channel. It's a video of Tim Reeve taking apart a Sebenza and putting it back together, and he just does it wrong. You can even hear it at the end when he like opens it, the blade is like grinding on the scale. Like he just doesn't put it back together correctly, so I don't know what's up with that. He's kind of an odd guy. I think he blocked me on Instagram for at one point for asking about, oh, I remember now. He blocked me on Instagram for a while. I actually don't know. I can see the Chris Reeve page, but I don't even know if I'm following Tim Reeve or if he still has me blocked. When they first released the 31 and they were showing these inlay patterns, that's one thing I'm not super keen on this. Like, I love the micarta, but I like the you know, they used to have kind of like two strips of micarta on here, and then they went to this weird pattern that, like, for no rhyme or reason, just cuts off at certain spots and like doesn't continue up around the pivot, and just a kind of an odd choice for the shape of this inlay. I remember asking him if he let his kid design it because it looked like a 5-year-old drew it on Instagram, and he proceeded to be snarky and then block me. So yeah, I guess he takes after his dad, because Chris Reeve seems kind of like a dick too. But anyways, that's my rambling for that. But the only other thing that I did to this then is I took off the like post that goes through here, the standoff that gives you a lanyard hole, just because even though Chris Reeve charges $500 plus for knives like this, they can't figure out a way to get that standoff to not rattle. So, you know, I think a lot of Chris Reeve people usually end up just putting some grease in there, but I don't use a lanyard hole anyway, and I don't want my $500+ knife rattling, so I just took it out because it's not structurally necessary. You already have that huge standoff back here. But anyways, really happy to have this back in the collection. This is one of my favorite knife designs ever. If you've never had a chance to check out a Sebenza, and you get the opportunity to, I know they're expensive, but for what you're getting, if you get a chance to take one of these apart and look at the machining and how they put all this stuff together, it really is just a very, very, very well thought out knife design. And I really, really have been enjoying it so far. So I probably will review this at some point just because I can, but this will definitely be in my EDC. It's going to be I'm going to have a hard time not carrying this. So let me just pull this stuff back out here for you guys to see here, but that is all I have for you right now. If you're interested in anything that I talked about, like I said, I will always put links down in the description. I will link to these books, the little pocket Bible, as well as all of this gear. And also don't forget, if you're interested in getting any of the G3D gear while it is on sale, that is running from now on Wednesday to this coming Monday, Cyber Monday. So get in on the Black Friday sale. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down in the comment section. As always, I will see you guys in the next video.